We've gotten some random questions recently. If you've been following us for a while, you probably already know. So I decided to do one of those like cheesy introduction things for anybody who cares or is new on the page and has been asking questions. Trevor and I met about 8 years ago and we've been married for a little over 7. We met and got married really fast. Some would say because when you know, others would say you're just really great. First things we did after we got married was talk about getting a side hustle so that we could save up, kind of live a freer lifestyle. So Trevor has a film degree and he taught me everything he knows about cameras, and we started a photography business. And we did that basically every weekend for about 3 years and just saved our asses off. 2018, we were working in Uganda. We were thinking about taking a job there. But instead decided to buy our first truck and do our first build. That's where the name Wazimu comes from. While we were in Uganda, the kids called Trevor Crazy White Man, and crazy in Swahili is Wazimu. First build cost us $40,000 all in. That included the truck, the build, decor, obviously, the most important part, everything, $40,000. We finished the first build in just over 6 weeks. I don't recommend doing that way. That kind of came from of needing to get on the road right away because Trevor and I were coming off of the worst year of not just our marriage but our life. In 2018, I was addicted to a lot of prescription drugs and Trevor was an alcoholic, and the combination was insane. Both dealing with a lot of childhood trauma, but then we kind of brought our own demons into the relationship and it was pretty explosive and we were very emotionally abusive towards each other. Don't recommend. So yeah, we kind of say that first year on the road saved us because we left, Trevor took his last drink on December 31st, 2018. We got on the road early 2019. As soon as he was done with the build, he took January 1st until the second week in February to finish it. Then we headed out west and we basically had the best year ever. No clue what we were doing. This was pre-COVID, so there wasn't a lot of van lifers on the road yet. There wasn't a lot of community or people to talk to or ask questions about it quite yet, and we're figuring it out as we go. But we had both of our dogs, Duke and Lewis, and we sort of just went wherever the wind blew. We learned a lot that first year on the road. COVID slowed us down a little bit, but not crazy. It just mostly shut down our finances, so we had to move a little bit slower, but we were still able to travel during that time. Last year, my dad ended up getting diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer, and that took us off the road last year. The doctors gave my dad 3 weeks to live. Yes, 3 weeks. He went into the hospital for back pain and walked out of the hospital with a 3-week life sentence. So my mom just worked her ass off for organic, clean eating, saved his life. We are still dealing with his cancer obviously every day, but that was back in February of 2021, so he's well over a year. Family was freaking out, so Trevor and I got off the road and went across the street to my parents' neighbor's house and just made them an offer on their house and just basically begged them to sell it to us, which they did. So Trevor and I parked the rig, moved into that house for kind of the foreseeable future. We did not know what was going to happen with my dad or my mom or the truck or whatever. The house was kind of a fixer-upper, so we ended up making that sort of a project while we were helping out with my parents, and as my dad got better, we were able to flip the house for profit, and while we were there, we decided to sell our original build and go all in on a second build because there was a lot of updates that we wanted to do. Thus, Wazimu 2 was born. We sold the original build in August of last year for $80,000, doubling obviously what we put into it, which was pretty cool. And we were able to build this one, thanks so much inflation, for just under $100,000. So basically with the money we made from the house that we flipped, that rig that we sold, we were able to just build this rig outright. Shout out to Robert Ashby and Matthew Wiley for providing a space for us to build it, because without you guys, we definitely would have been way over our budget and probably wouldn't be able to do it. During the build, we had to say goodbye to our Doberman, Duke. He was almost 11 and he ended up also getting cancer. 2021 was a really rough year. and we had to put him down. So then it was just Trevor, Lewis, and I that were going to be moving into this truck. In February, we moved into our 2008 GMC C7500, I think that's what it is, and hit the road. Same thing as last time. Don't ever really have a destination in mind. We kind of just go wherever we feel like it, whenever we feel like it. My remote marketing job that I do from the road, and unfortunately fuel is like 4 million times more expensive than it was the first time we were on the road. So that has forced us to move a lot slower than we would like to move. But basically that's how we make money on the road, is I do marketing. We pick up promotional work wherever we can. Trevor is a welder, and Trevor's in everything. So he can basically get a job kind of wherever, because he's so good at so many things. So when money gets super tight, we just kind of like look for a job in the area that we're in, or we just slow down and park and just save up. That's basically the story of us and the truck. We don't have any plans to stop anytime soon. We've been doing it for about 4 years. I think when Lewis crosses the Rainbow Bridge, we're talking about doing full-time travel overseas. So we'll probably either sell this rig when that happens, or we will find some land to park it on and maybe do like an Airbnb thing out of it while we travel overseas full-time. But we don't have any plans to stop traveling anytime soon. Creatively on the road, I'm in the middle of writing a book, and Trevor's in the middle of writing a screenplay for a movie or series. And that's kind of what we do in our spare time when we're not hiking or smoking, like hanging out. Some people have asked us about kids. We're quite certain that we cannot have kids. I did have a miscarriage back in 2018, so I suppose it is possible for me to be with a child. But I think because of some hormone issues that I struggle with and some other like medical issues, we're not clear on whether or not we actually can have kids, but that works for us because we are fine not having kids. If it happens, like, we're not doing anything to prevent it. Sorry if that's TMI, but we aren't planning on it at all, ever. I'm one of 5 kids. Trevor is one of 3. We have so many nieces and nephews that we are obsessed with, and that's good enough for us. I feel like that's everything. Any questions?